Have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed a strand of gray hair and thought, oh no, I'm getting old? What if I told you gray hair isn't a simple sign of age? It's a signal your body is under stress, starving for the nutrients it needs to function at its best? Here's what's really going on inside your body when those gray strands appear. Hair color comes from cells called melanocytes, which produce the pigment melanin. Melanin is what gives your hair its natural color: black, brown, red, or blonde. But these melanocytes don't operate in isolation. They need fuel, nutrients, and a balanced environment to keep producing color. When the body starts running low on certain vitamins, amino acids, or antioxidants, melanocytes struggle. Their activity declines and the hair loses its pigment. In other words, gray hair is not simply a sign of aging. It's a subtle alarm bell saying your body is under nutritional stress. This matters far beyond appearances. If your body is signaling nutrient stress at the level of your hair, imagine what else might be affected: your energy, your metabolism, your hormonal balance, and even your brain function. Gray hair is often the first visible warning that something deeper is off. Ignoring it doesn't just affect aesthetics, it reflects a larger metabolic story that impacts longevity, fat loss, and overall vitality. So, what causes this starvation at the cellular level? It's usually not about skipping meals or dieting poorly. Instead, it's about what your cells actually have available to perform their work. A diet low in key amino acids, insufficient B vitamins, minerals like copper and zinc, or chronic high insulin and sugar levels can all disrupt pigment production. Oxidative stress, inflammation, and poor liver detoxification also play a major role. Put simply, if your cells don't get what they need to thrive, your hair turns gray, and your health quietly suffers alongside it. Today, we're going to explore the science behind gray hair, but more importantly, we're going to focus on solutions that actually fix the root cause. You'll learn how to nourish your melanocytes, balance your metabolism, and give your hair and your body the resources it needs to stay healthy, vibrant, and full of energy. By the end of this session, you'll understand why gray hair is not just a cosmetic issue, why it appears sometimes even in your 20s or 30s, and what natural science-backed strategies you can use to reverse or slow down this process. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, diving into the real biology behind health, fat loss, and longevity so you can make lasting, natural changes without relying on medications or quick fixes. Let's start by looking at what gray hair really signals, because it's not just a cosmetic change. Gray hair is your body's way of sending a nutrient warning. To understand this, we need to zoom in on the cells responsible for hair color, melanocytes. These are pigment-producing factories in your hair follicles. They take amino acids from your diet and, with the help of minerals like copper and zinc and vitamins like B12 and folate, produce melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its natural color. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your hair follicle as a factory. Melanocytes are the machines in that factory that produce colored paint, melanin. For the machines to work, you need raw materials. Amino acids are your paint pigments. B vitamins are the lubricants, and minerals like copper and zinc are the tools that keep the machinery running smoothly. If any of these components run low, the machines can't produce the paint properly. The result? Your hair comes out gray or white. Here's what's really going on inside your body when this happens. Amino acids like tyrosine and cysteine are critical for melanin production. Without them, the melanocytes can't synthesize pigment efficiently. Similarly, a deficiency in B12, folate, or biotin interrupts the cellular energy cycles in the hair follicle, starving the melanocytes. Copper acts as a cofactor in the enzymes that create melanin. Zinc protects cells from oxidative damage. Low levels of these nutrients essentially signal the hair follicle to slow or stop pigment production, long before you see any other symptoms of nutrient deficiency. So, how do we fix this at the root? First, focus on high-quality protein. Foods like eggs, poultry, fish, and plant-based options like lentils and quinoa provide tyrosine, cysteine, and other amino acids your melanocytes need. Second, ensure adequate intake of B vitamins. Leafy greens, organ meats, eggs, and fortified plant milks are excellent sources. Third, minerals matter. Pumpkin seeds, nuts, shellfish, and dark chocolate are rich in zinc and copper. If you're vegan or have absorption issues, targeted supplementation can be helpful. But the goal is always to restore cellular nutrition naturally first. Another key piece is antioxidants. Oxidative stress damages melanocytes, making it harder for them to function. Incorporate colorful vegetables, berries, green tea, and turmeric, foods rich in antioxidants that protect hair pigment cells. This is particularly important if you're under stress, exposed to pollution, or eating a high-sugar diet, all of which increase oxidative load. Finally, timing and consistency matter. Nutrient-rich meals spaced evenly through the day ensure your body can actually use these building blocks for cellular repair. Skipping meals or relying heavily on processed foods may leave your melanocytes hungry, even if your overall calorie intake seems sufficient. In other words, you can't just eat enough, your cells have to get the right nutrients at the right time. If this insight is already opening your eyes to how gray hair signals deeper metabolic and nutrient issues, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, helping you understand the science behind visible signs and how to take natural action to reverse them. Now that we understand gray hair as a nutrient warning, let's talk about what accelerates the process. And one of the biggest culprits is metabolic stress, particularly high blood sugar and insulin imbalance. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time you eat a meal high in sugar or refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas releases insulin to move glucose into your cells. Over time, repeated spikes can cause insulin resistance, meaning your cells don't respond as effectively to insulin. This isn't just a concern for diabetes. Insulin resistance creates a cascade of cellular stress, inflammation, and oxidative damage throughout your body, including in the hair follicle. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Think of your hair follicle like a small city. Insulin is like the delivery trucks bringing in fuel and raw materials. When insulin works properly, deliveries arrive on time and the city thrives. But when insulin resistance develops, the trucks keep arriving late, or worse, the roads get blocked. The city can't get what it needs. In the hair follicle, this means melanocytes don't get the nutrients or energy to produce pigment effectively, so your hair starts turning gray, sometimes even in your 20s or 30s. What the research shows is that high blood sugar also increases oxidative stress, producing free radicals that directly damage melanocytes. Chronic inflammation from sugar and refined carbs further accelerates pigment loss. In other words, gray hair is not just a sign of nutrient deficiency. It's also a visible marker of metabolic stress. So what can you do to protect your melanocytes? First, focus on stabilizing blood sugar. Pair carbohydrates with protein, healthy fats, and fiber to slow glucose absorption. For example, if you're having oatmeal, add nuts and seeds or a side of eggs to prevent spikes. Second, consider strategic intermittent fasting. Time-restricted eating, like 12 to 16 hours between dinner and breakfast, improves insulin sensitivity and gives your cells a metabolic reset, reducing oxidative stress. Third, prioritize low-glycemic, nutrient-dense foods. Leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, fatty fish, berries, and healthy fats like olive oil and avocado. These foods support stable blood sugar while providing antioxidants that protect hair follicles. Lifestyle factors matter too. Regular movement, even simple walks, improves insulin sensitivity. Stress management through meditation, breath work, or gentle exercise reduces cortisol, a hormone that worsens insulin resistance and accelerates cellular aging. Sleep is equally critical. Poor sleep raises both insulin and cortisol levels, creating a perfect storm for premature graying. Finally, consider micronutrient support. Magnesium, chromium, and alpha-lipoic acid all support healthy insulin function and help mitigate oxidative stress in cells. While food should be the primary source, targeted supplementation can give your melanocytes the extra support they need when metabolic stress is high. The takeaway here is simple. If your hair is turning gray earlier than expected, it's not fate. It's often a sign your metabolism is stressed. By stabilizing blood sugar, supporting insulin function, and reducing oxidative stress, you're not just protecting hair pigment. You're improving energy, longevity, and metabolic health across your entire body. Now let's look at another layer of the gray hair puzzle: hormones. Many people think hair color is fixed by age alone, but in reality, your hormones are key regulators of melanocyte activity, the cells that produce hair pigment. When hormone balance is off, your hair cells literally receive the wrong signals, slowing pigment production and accelerating graying. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Thyroid hormones, cortisol, and sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone all influence hair follicle function. Thyroid hormones regulate cellular metabolism, energy production, and repair. If thyroid function is low, your melanocytes become sluggish, even if your diet is perfect. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is another major factor. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which increases oxidative stress, depletes nutrients, and directly impairs melanocyte function. Sex hormones also matter. Estrogen helps protect cells from oxidative damage, while testosterone can influence hair growth cycles. When these hormones are imbalanced, pigment production drops. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your melanocytes as factory workers producing paint. Hormones are the managers and supervisors. Thyroid hormones are like the power supply. Without enough energy, the machines slow down. Cortisol is a micromanager who constantly yells at the workers, creating chaos and burnout. Estrogen is a protective safety officer, preventing accidents and keeping machinery in good repair. When the managers fail, the production line falters and your hair loses its color. So what can we do to support hormonal balance naturally? First, prioritize sleep. Adequate restorative sleep helps regulate cortisol and thyroid function. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night and maintain a consistent schedule. Second, manage stress with targeted techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or yoga. Reducing cortisol not only protects melanocytes, but also improves energy, insulin sensitivity, and metabolism. Third, support thyroid health with key nutrients. Iodine, selenium, and zinc are essential for hormone production and activation. Foods like seaweed, Brazil nuts, and pumpkin seeds can be powerful allies here. Nutrition also plays a hormonal role. Healthy fats from olive oil, avocado, nuts, and fatty fish help your body produce steroid hormones efficiently. Protein is critical for thyroid hormone transport and overall endocrine function. Without adequate dietary support, even balanced hormone signaling can falter. Finally, consider lifestyle rhythm. Regular exercise improves estrogen and testosterone balance, enhances thyroid activity, and reduces cortisol. Even moderate movement like brisk walking or resistance training 3 to 5 times per week can help maintain hormonal equilibrium. For those with persistent imbalances, it's worth checking thyroid panels, cortisol patterns, or sex hormone levels with a healthcare professional. But the foundation is always nutrition, stress management, sleep, and movement. The key takeaway is this: gray hair is rarely just about age. When hormones are imbalanced, your melanocytes lose direction and efficiency, accelerating pigment loss. By supporting thyroid function, managing stress, and optimizing sex hormone balance, you're giving your hair cells the management team they need to operate at full capacity. Now that we've covered nutrients and hormones, let's dive into how lifestyle, what I like to call cellular feeding, plays a critical role in gray hair. Age alone doesn't turn your hair gray. It's the combination of nutrient gaps, stress, and poor cellular energy that starves your melanocytes. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your cells need consistent fuel and building blocks to produce pigment and maintain healthy hair. When you skip meals, eat processed foods, or chronically overwork your liver with alcohol or environmental toxins, melanocytes struggle to get what they need. Even if your diet seems healthy on paper, poor timing, low nutrient density, or excessive stress can leave hair cells starving. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of each hair follicle as a plant. To thrive, it needs water, sunlight, and nutrients. If the plant is in soil that's poor, water that's inconsistent, or sunlight that's blocked, it can't produce flowers, or in this case, pigment. Your lifestyle choices, meal timing, stress, sleep, movement, determine whether your cellular soil is rich or depleted. Gray hair often appears when the soil is chronically nutrient poor, even in someone who is otherwise fit or young. So, what are the actionable steps to feed your cells properly? First, optimize your meal timing. Time-restricted eating, such as a 12 to 16-hour fasting window overnight, can help your cells use nutrients efficiently while reducing oxidative stress. This doesn't mean starving, it's about giving your body a predictable rhythm to repair and regenerate. Second, focus on nutrient-dense foods. Leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, colorful produce, high-quality proteins, and healthy fats provide the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants your melanocytes crave. Third, protect your liver. The liver is the body's detox center, filtering waste and supporting hormone balance. A sluggish liver can leave melanocytes starved even if your diet is good. Support liver function with cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, foods rich in glutathione, precursors like garlic and onions, and hydration. Limiting alcohol and heavily processed foods also helps the liver focus on nutrient delivery rather than detox stress. Fourth, manage oxidative stress through lifestyle. Exercise is critical, but moderate movement is more beneficial than extreme workouts, which can actually increase stress hormones. Mindful practices like meditation, breath work, and even daily walks lower cortisol and reduce cellular damage, giving melanocytes a chance to recover. Finally, sleep is non-negotiable. During deep sleep, your body regenerates cells, balances hormones, and clears oxidative byproducts. Poor or inconsistent sleep is one of the fastest ways to accelerate cellular aging, including hair pigment loss. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night, ideally in a dark, cool environment, and try to keep a consistent schedule. The takeaway is simple but powerful. Gray hair often signals that your melanocytes are not getting the consistent nutrition, energy, and repair support they need. By improving meal timing, nutrient density, liver health, oxidative balance, and sleep, you're not just protecting hair pigment, you're optimizing metabolism, energy, and longevity across your whole body. Now that we understand the root causes of gray hair, nutrient gaps, metabolic stress, hormone imbalance, and lifestyle starvation, let's focus on actionable interventions that can help slow or even partially reverse the process. These strategies are all natural, evidence-based, and designed to feed your cells at the level they actually need. First, nutrition is foundational. Your hair follicles require building blocks like tyrosine and cysteine to produce melanin. Include high-quality proteins such as eggs, poultry, fish, and plant-based sources like lentils and quinoa. Vitamins B12, folate, and biotin are essential for cellular energy in melanocytes, so aim for leafy greens, organ meats, and fortified plant foods. Minerals like zinc and copper act as cofactors for pigment production. Pumpkin seeds, nuts, shellfish, and dark chocolate are excellent choices. Think of this as giving your hair follicle the raw materials it needs to restart pigment production. Second, support antioxidant defenses. Oxidative stress damages melanocytes, so foods rich in antioxidants are critical. Colorful vegetables, berries, green tea, and spices like turmeric protect hair cells from free radical damage. Pairing these foods with healthy fats, such as olive oil, avocado, and fatty fish, improves absorption and provides additional cellular protection. Third, regulate blood sugar and insulin. As we discussed earlier, spikes in blood sugar accelerate pigment loss. Pair carbohydrates with protein, fiber, and healthy fats to stabilize glucose levels. Consider time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting windows of 12 to 16 hours, which improve insulin sensitivity and reduce oxidative stress. Even small changes, like a high-protein breakfast or walking after meals, can make a measurable difference. Fourth, optimize hormonal balance. Prioritize sleep, aiming for 7 to 9 hours per night, ideally on a consistent schedule. Stress management techniques like deep breathing, meditation, yoga, or even short daily walks can lower cortisol and protect melanocytes. Support thyroid health with iodine, selenium, and zinc from foods like seaweed, Brazil nuts, and pumpkin seeds. Healthy fats help steroid hormone production, so don't skimp on avocado, nuts, olive oil, or fatty fish. Regular movement balances estrogen and testosterone, further supporting pigment-producing cells. Fifth, targeted supplementation can provide an extra boost. When diet alone isn't enough, consider micronutrients that directly support melanocyte function. B-complex vitamins, zinc, copper, and antioxidants such as vitamin C and alpha lipoic acid. These help fill gaps and reduce oxidative stress in pigment cells, giving your hair follicles a better chance to maintain or restore color. Finally, adopt a holistic lifestyle rhythm. Hydrate adequately, support liver detoxification with cruciferous vegetables and antioxidant-rich foods, and avoid excessive alcohol or processed foods. Regular, moderate exercise improves circulation and hormone balance, ensuring nutrients reach your hair follicles efficiently. Remember, consistency matters. These interventions work best when implemented daily, forming a lifestyle that nourishes your cells instead of starving them. The key takeaway here is this: gray hair is not a fate dictated by age. By feeding your cells the nutrients they need, supporting hormonal and metabolic health, and protecting against oxidative stress, you're giving your hair follicles the tools to produce pigment effectively. These changes don't just influence hair color, they improve energy, metabolism, focus, and overall longevity. We've covered a lot today, so let's take a moment to bring it all together. Gray hair is not simply a sign of aging. It's a visible warning from your body that your hair follicles, your melanocytes, are experiencing stress and nutrient scarcity. It's telling you, in the quiet language of biology, that your cells are hungry, under oxidative stress, or not getting the support they need to function optimally. Here's what we've learned. First, gray hair signals nutrient deficiencies. Amino acids, B vitamins, zinc, copper, and antioxidants are all critical for pigment production. Without them, melanocytes can't synthesize melanin and the color fades. Second, metabolic stress from high blood sugar and insulin resistance accelerates graying by damaging pigment cells and increasing oxidative stress. Third, hormones like thyroid, cortisol, estrogen, and testosterone directly regulate hair pigment. Imbalances here can slow or stop melanin production. Fourth, lifestyle factors, poor sleep, chronic stress, irregular meals, and liver overload amplify cellular starvation, making pigment loss almost inevitable if unaddressed. And fifth, targeted natural interventions, from nutrient-dense foods to time-restricted eating, antioxidant support, and stress management, can slow or partially reverse gray hair while boosting overall cellular health. The practical takeaway is simple. Gray hair is not just a cosmetic issue, it's a metabolic and nutritional signal. By addressing the root causes, you're not only protecting your hair pigment, but also improving your energy, metabolism, hormonal balance, and longevity. Small, consistent changes matter more than dramatic, temporary fixes. Even one habit, a high-protein breakfast, a daily walk, adding leafy greens and nuts, prioritizing sleep, sends a clear message to your cells that they are cared for and nourished. Here's the challenge for you. Choose just one of these changes today. Maybe it's a 15-minute evening walk to reduce cortisol, or a nutrient-rich shake with B vitamins and antioxidants. Track how your body responds over the next week. You'll begin to see that gray hair is not simply inevitable. It's a dynamic signal that your lifestyle can influence, often in surprisingly short time frames. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others who are optimizing their health naturally. Every insight shared here is rooted in real biology and practical interventions you can apply today without relying on medications or quick fixes. Remember, your hair is telling a story, one of cellular nutrition, hormonal balance, and metabolic health. Listen to it, respond to it, and watch how your body, energy, and vitality transform. Gray hair doesn't have to be a surrender to age. It can be a wake-up call, a chance to feed your cells, rebalance your hormones, and take control of your metabolism. Your melanocytes and your overall health will thank you.